Alright, so which Best Supporting Actor Oscar wins of the 2000s do I think are fantastic, and which ones do I not like so much? Hey guys, it's Brian. Welcome to the Awards Contender, and it's time for my Oscar ranking Best Supporting Actor of the 2000s. We've got some wonderful wins in this category that I adore to this day, and some wins that I don't think about very much. I don't know about you. Let's start with number 10, Jim Broadbent, Iris.
Now I'm bagged for life.
Love's the only language everyone understands.
Who love? Yes, I can read it, but I can't speak it.
So this one's just like a shrug, right? Like, oh, right, Jim Broadbent has an Academy Award. It's for a Miramax movie from 2001 that got into the Oscars in a bunch of places, like Best Actress for Judi Dench, Best Supporting Actress Kate Winslet. And the thing with Jim Broadbent that year was that he was also in Moulin Rouge, which got into Best Picture at the Oscars, which won him the BAFTA award for Best Supporting Actor. So I think him being in two big awards-friendly movies that year, that got him to a victory. But I've seen Iris once, and he's fine in it, but it's not a memorable performance. It's nothing people were talking about 6 months after he won, let alone today. I think a much better win in the Oscar category that year would have been Ian McKellen for Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Ian McKellen, to this day, has never won an Oscar. He would have been a deserving winner in Best Actor a few years before for Gods and Monsters. And his performance as Gandalf in Lord of the Rings is so iconic. It's like, really? We had to give this prize that year to Broadbent for Iris, a movie nobody talks about anymore. The Academy could have done the right thing for 2001, giving Ian McKellen Best Supporting Actor for Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring.
Above all, I'd like to thank my wife Anastasia for coming with me on this long and rather unpredictable journey. And good luck, Moulin Rouge.
Number 9, George Clooney, Syriana.
They let young people march in the street, and the next day they shut down 50 newspapers. That doesn't mean that the Ayatollahs are surrendering one iota of control over that nation.
I really did not like this movie. This was a slog of a film to get through. I still remember seeing it with my dad in the theater, like thinking to myself, how many minutes are left? How many more minutes are in this movie? It just did not click for me at all, even though the acting is strong. George Clooney does a fine job in that film. And kind of like how I just talked about with Jim Broadbent having two big awards films for 2001, for 2005, George Clooney also had two big awards players. He had Syriana, which got him into supporting actor, and he had Good Night and Good Luck, which got him into director and screenplay. So we had the sense that night at the Oscars Clooney was going to win something. It would have been odd if he had been overlooked all the way through the ceremony, which is why he makes that joke early in his Oscar acceptance speech. You know, I'm not winning director. So it's like, well, Clooney's been doing good work for many years. Let's give him an Oscar trophy. They decided to go with supporting actor Syriana, where he has a physical transformation. He gained a lot of weight. It is one of his better performances at the time, I would say, even though I think his Oscar win for acting should have been The Descendants or should have been for Michael Clayton. Up in the Air 2009, he is amazing in that. I think his win should have been for one of those three films, not necessarily Syriana. But, you know, it's an okay win. I think it's better than Broadbent. I would have preferred Jake Gyllenhaal had won that night in supporting actor like he did at BAFTA for Brokeback Mountain. I think Brokeback should have gotten something in acting, you know? It was weird that season to see three just sublime performances in that film. Heath Ledger, Michelle Williams, and Jake Gyllenhaal get in pretty much everywhere, but never win anything. It was just Gyllenhaal at BAFTA. And I remember thinking, oh, like, he won BAFTA. Maybe he can win the Oscar, but no. It went to Clooney, and I do think it goes beyond reasons than just Clooney's performance, like the quality of it, because of Good Night and Good Luck. Like, he had to win something, so supporting actor was it. I don't hate this win for Clooney, but it's not one of my favorites.
All right, so I'm not winning director.
Number 8, Tim Robbins, Mystic River.
The stolen car report. The car wasn't in my possession last night. So whatever the car thieves used it for, you should find out, because it sounds like they were up to no good.
Alright, so starting with Tim Robbins, number 8. I wouldn't take out any winner in the category. I would take out Jim Broadbent and George Clooney. But the other 8 performances I'm talking about here that won Best Supporting Actor in the 2000s, they can stay. Even though Tim Robbins' Mystic River, it's not a performance I think about much. You know, when I was going through the 10 years of supporting actor winners in my head a few hours ago, this was the one I forgot. I was going through the 9 and I'm like, who am I leaving out? Oh right, 2003, who won for 03? And it took me a moment. It wasn't immediate. I was like, Mystic River. Tim Robbins won that. And you know, it was a solid win. Tim Robbins is a great actor, writer, director. He frickin' is amazing in The Shawshank Redemption. He's so funny and fantastic in Bull Durham. And it's like he should have an Academy Award in his house. And he gives a very fine performance in Clint Eastwood's Mystic River, which also won Best Actor for Sean Penn, of course. That was a very beloved movie that award season, and Robbins, it just kind of felt like his time. There wasn't anyone else in the category who was a clear second place. I mean, you had like Jaimin Hunsu for In America, Ken Watanabe for The Last Samurai. There were some other nominees in the category who would have been worthy winners, but it wasn't obvious, right? There wasn't like an obvious second place. And because Mystic River was so beloved, it made sense that even if Sean Penn wasn't going to win lead actor, that Tim Robbins was going to take supporting actor. I think he pretty much swept the season for that performance, and he won the Oscar. It's a good win, just not overly memorable, I would say.
Wow. Thank you so much, members of the Academy. This is really a lovely, lovely honor.
Number 7, Morgan Freeman, $1 Million Baby.
110.
So speaking of The Shawshank Redemption, right? So I just talked about Tim Robbins, and now we're talking about Morgan Freeman, who was another one of those actors who had to win an Academy Award someday. It would have felt really wrong if we got to the end of Morgan Freeman's career and he had been nominated all over the place throughout the decades but had never won an Oscar. Like, he had to win at some point. And $1 Million Baby comes along in December of 2004 and just knocked all of our socks off, right? I mean, it was a late-breaking film that year. Most of us thought, okay, The Aviator, Martin Scorsese, that is going to be his time, his moments. But $1 Million Baby, also directed by Clint Eastwood, of course. He had 2 big awards players 2 years in a row. That came on at the right time. It hit with audiences and critics just when it needed to. And by the time we got to Oscars night, we knew that film was going to do very well. It ended up winning Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress, and Best Supporting Actor for Morgan Freeman. It was like, okay, we have to give Freeman an Oscar. This is a very good performance. I really like him in $1 Million Baby. It's not his best work ever, but he's got a couple really great moments in that. His chemistry with Eastwood is excellent in a few select scenes in that movie. So even though, I probably would have preferred someone else, like Clive Owen in Closer or Thomas Hayden Church in Sideways, I like that Morgan Freeman has an Oscar, and I do think he's good in $1 Million Baby. So this isn't one of the best Oscar wins in this category of the decade, but it's solid. It's a solid win.
I want to thank everybody and anybody who ever had anything at all to do with the making of this picture.
Number 6, Alan Arkin, Little Miss Sunshine.
Will you kindly not interrupt me, Richard? See, right now, you're jailbait, they're jailbait. It's perfect. I mean, you hit 18. Man, you're talking about 3 to 5.
So as of this recording, this is really the only supporting actor race of the 2000s I've explored in depth in a video. I talked about Alan Arkin versus Eddie Murphy. That was an interesting season in supporting actor 2006, because Eddie Murphy was the clear frontrunner there for a while for Dreamgirls. It was a very beloved performance from Murphy, a dramatic turn, we didn't see him do drama very much. And like he won Golden Globe and Critics' Choice and SAG, and it was like, yeah, like this is going to be Murphy's time. You also had Jennifer Hudson just dominating supporting actress. So even though Dreamgirls didn't get into picture and director at the Oscars, which was like, that was kind of surprising, I remember, it seemed like Eddie Murphy was going to pull it off. Alan Arkin in Little Miss Sunshine is fantastic, and he won at BAFTA. But I don't know. I was like, is BAFTA enough? He's not in a lot of Little Miss Sunshine. Spoiler alert, right? Like, Arkin is not in the entirety of Little Miss Sunshine. I wondered if he was in enough of that film. So on the night, it seemed like the prize was going to Murphy, but no, Rachel Weisz said Alan Arkin. It was kind of a surprise. And thinking back on that win for Arkin, I really like it. I think it's cool that a comedic performance like that won an Academy Award. I like how it was a surprise. I like that Arkin won an Oscar in his life. He was nominated 4 times. I don't much care for that Argo nomination. I don't care for that one very much. But Little Miss Sunshine is pretty great. He is so freaking hilarious in that movie. He makes the most of every minute of his screen time. As much as I enjoyed Eddie Murphy in Dreamgirls, that would have been a great win in this category too. I don't know. I still prefer Alan Arkin in Little Miss Sunshine. I think that's a really great win.
I am deeply moved by the open-hearted appreciation our small film has received, which in these fragmented times speaks so openly of the possibility of innocence, growth, and connection.
Number 5, Chris Cooper adaptation.
I once fell deeply, profoundly in love with tropical fish. Had 60 goddamn fish tanks in my house.
One of my very favorite films of 2002 was Adaptation, directed by Spike Jonze, written by Charlie and Donald Kaufman, right? And I mean, talk about an all-star cast. So many wonderful performances in that. Nicolas Cage, like one of his top 2 or 3 best performances in the movies, like right alongside his Oscar-winning role in Leaving Las Vegas, right? He is so freaking incredible playing 2 characters in Adaptation. I'm so happy he got in at the Oscars. You also had Meryl Streep get in pretty much everywhere for supporting actress in Adaptation. She won the Golden Globe, and that was kind of a new side of Streep we hadn't seen in a while. She's sexy, she's vibrant, she's funny, she's contemporary in Adaptation. I really adore her work in that too. And then Chris Cooper, man. Chris Cooper is so freaking astonishing in that film. It's a transformative performance. He's funny, he's emotional, he's combative. Like, you really do forget you're watching Chris Cooper. And he had been on the rise, right? Throughout the 90s, appearing in so many great films, giving good performances. I thought his work in American Beauty deserved a Best Supporting Actor nomination. I was surprised. Like, I think he got in at SAG, but he didn't get the Oscar nomination. He didn't do very well that season in supporting actor. So 3 years later, we get to Adaptation, and he becomes the favorite in supporting actor, starting at the Globes, like all the way to the Oscars. And it was so well deserved because Adaptation deserved to win something big. I'm so happy it did for Chris Cooper. It would have been sad for me if that movie had gone home empty-handed. So yeah, even though there are some wonderful other nominations in the category for 2002, supporting actor, I think Christopher Walken, Catch Me If You Can, is an inspired Oscar nomination. I do think the best in the category is Cooper, and I am so thrilled that he won.
In light of all the troubles in this world, I wish us all peace. Thank you.
Number 4, Benicio Del Toro, Traffic.
You worry about getting me what I want. I worry about myself.
Okay, so here was the supporting actor Oscar win that launched the decade. And yeah, this, I mean, like, how can you deny Del Toro's work in that movie? He gives probably the best performance in Traffic, and there was talk at the time, is this a lead actor Oscar nomination or supporting actor? Because like he won supporting actor at Golden Globes, but then he won lead actor at SAG. I'm not sure everyone remembers that. over Tom Hanks in Castaway, over Russell Crowe in Gladiator. So there was confusion that season, like, is this supporting, is this lead? It's an ensemble film with, dozens of characters. So I think supporting actor makes sense just because there's really not a lead anything in Traffic, so that's never bothered me. I do think he went in the right category, and he rightfully won, even though there are some wonderful performances in that category, especially Willem Dafoe, Shadow of the Vampire, right? That would have been a cool win too. I just think Benicio Del Toro has given us so many phenomenal performances over the decades. I mean, you think about Sicario, you think about 21 Grams, which also got him an Oscar nomination the year of Tim Robbins. And it's like, yeah, this guy should have an Oscar. And if there was ever a performance he should have won for, it was Traffic. He is so brilliant in that film. Sinister at times, vulnerable in others. He shows so many shades in that movie. I'm happy Traffic got an acting Oscar win. That should have happened. And for Del Toro, yeah, that makes total sense to me. If we didn't have 3 all-timer wins in the category still to talk about, I would have had Del Toro even higher on this list.
We went from Washington, D.C. all the way to San Diego, California. I'd like to dedicate this to the people of Nogales, Arizona and Nogales, Mexico. Thank you.
Number 3, Christoph Waltz, Inglourious Bastards.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
Is that the way you say it? That's a bingo.
All right, so now we get to the top 3, the villains, right? We get to the villains in this video. You knew these were coming. You knew I was going to rank these at the top. And in thinking a few hours ago about my top 3 choices, I was like, in a different decade, any one of these 3 wins for supporting actor at the Oscars could have been number 1, right? Christoph Waltz in Inglourious Bastards by Quentin Tarantino, in a different decade, that could have been number 1. He is phenomenal in that movie. I mean, talk about a star-making role. Like, from the beginning of Inglourious Bastards, we were all sitting forward in our chairs in the theater. Like, who the hell is this guy? Holy frickin' shit, right? Like, what a performance he gives in that movie. And it's like number 3? He's ranked number 3 here? I mean, it is kind of crazy because I feel like this should be number 2 or even 1, but when you look at the top 2 choices I have, it's like, sorry, Waltz, but you have to settle for number 3. But that takes nothing away from this well-deserved victory. Quentin Tarantino has directed him to an Oscar win twice. In supporting actor, he also won 3 years later for Django Unchained. I like that win. I like that performance a lot. But really, of those 2 victories, the better one is Inglourious Bastards. That is a villainous performance for the ages. I mean, just the opening scene of that movie. He deserved to win the Oscar just for that. And then he has so many more wonderful scenes all throughout the movie, moments of dark humor, moments where he is absolutely terrifying and you don't know what he's going to do or say next. And that final scene, that very last scene of the movie, it's so perfect. It's one of Tarantino's best and one of his great discoveries. In terms of casting all throughout his career and in film and stuff, Tarantino was not going to make Inglourious Bastards. If he didn't find the right person for that character, I think he almost gave up. And then he found Christoph Waltz, and the rest is history. What an all-timer performance. What a great Oscar win for Best Supporting Actor.
This is your welcoming embrace, and there's no way I can ever thank you enough. But I can start right now. Thank you.
Number 2, Javier Bardem, No Country for Old Men.
It's been traveling 22 years to get here. And now it's here. And it's either heads or tails. And you have to say, call it.
Here is another iconic villainous performance of the 2000s, right? Bardem in the Coen Brothers' No Country for Old Men, one of the great masterpieces of the decade, a film that just endures, right? You can watch that at any time, and it is just flawless filmmaking, right? The Coen Brothers hadn't made a bunch of great movies right before this. They had done like Intolerable Cruelty and The Lady Killers. I remember thinking, like, when No Country for Old Men was announced, I was like, it would be nice to see a return to form for the Coen brothers, and holy shit, did we get it with that movie. I was completely blown away in the fall of 2007. The performances, the storytelling, the cinematography, the surprises, like the violence, I mean, it's just one incredible film. But if I had to pick my favorite thing about No Country for Old Men, it's Javier Bardem's performance. He is so chilling in that film with that weird bowl cut, like from the beginning, and every time he walks up to, you know, an innocent civilian, you know, like something bad is gonna go down. He is like a killing machine with no emotion. This must have been a difficult character to cast, you know, like who do we put in this role? And Javier Bardem, like, I mean, I don't think in 2006, 2007, he would have been the obvious choice for that character, especially with the bowl cut and stuff. But like, I mean, that was inspired casting, and he gives it everything he's got. He makes that character so memorable right from the beginning, and you're just like, wow. Javier Bardem has given one of the great performances of the decade, and he was undeniable at the Oscars. Like, I really, really love that nomination for Hal Holbrook in Into the Wild, my favorite film of 2007. I was like, you know, quietly rooting for Holbrook in a shocker. That would have been cool. But I was like, no. Brian, the winner of Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars this year is going to be Javier Bardem. That is 100% happening, and it was so well deserved. I'm so happy he has an Oscar, and it's for what's probably still his best performance in No Country for Old Men.
Thank you to the Coens for being crazy enough to think that I could do that and put one of the most horrible haircuts on history over my head.
And finally, that takes me to my number one choice. It is, of course, Heath Ledger, The Dark Knight.
Hi.
Right? Like, I wasn't going to pick anyone else in that number one slot. Even though I love Bardem and Waltz, of course, Heath Ledger as the Joker in Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight is one of my favorite movie performances of all time. Like, I've made videos for this channel where I picked like the best acting Oscar wins ever, and Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight has made those lists. So when talking about the best supporting actor Oscar wins of this one decade, of course he's going to be right there at the top. One of my favorite actors who ever lived, a life and career cut so tragically short. I'm happy he lived long enough to give us Brokeback Mountain and The Dark Knight. Two completely polar opposite performances that show his versatility as an actor, the sheer depth of his talents. You know, I mean, he's great in other things. I really enjoy him in 10 Things I Hate About You and A Knight's Tale. He's good in I'm Not There. He did a lot of great work in that short amount of time before his tragic passing. But I think Brokeback Mountain and The Dark Knight will keep his legacy alive forever, and that he won a posthumous Academy Award in Best Supporting Actor more than a year after he died. It just, I mean, talk about undeniable. Talk about a performance that, no matter what, was always going to be nominated. I do think no matter what the circumstances may have been, if they had been different, like, he was always going to win this prize at the Oscars for Best Supporting Actor. He is the best thing about The Dark Knight. Whenever he is on screen, you cannot look away when he's not on screen, which is a lot of that movie. You know, The Dark Knight, I think, is about 2.5 hours long, and the Joker is not in a lot of that film. But like, you're thinking about that character when he's absent for many scenes, and when he's there, when he's having that chat with Batman, you know, in that interrogation room, when he's driving that huge truck and it flips over in the middle of that street. when he's walking out of that exploding hospital, Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight is giving 100%. What an all-timer, iconic performance in the history of cinema. I am so happy he won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor, that his family was there to accept the prize on his behalf. It was a very sad moment at the Oscars, right? That was a sad moment. That was kind of our goodbye to Heath Ledger in a way. But all these years later, when I think back on the legacy of Heath Ledger, I choose to think about the good, the great, the incredible work he gave us for that short amount of time. And my favorite performance of his will always be Brokeback Mountain. I think he is astonishing in that film. But his other monumental performance in film is, of course, in The Dark Knight. And his Oscar win and Best Supporting Actor is my choice easily for the best victory in that category of the decade.
We proudly accept this award on behalf of your beautiful Matilda. Thank you.
Thanks so much for watching and subscribing, and let me know in the comments below, how would you rank Best Supporting Actor Oscar wins of the 2000s, and I'll see you next time at the Awards Contender.